standard matchups. A Draven lane, always happy to go up against another 2 versus 2 lane, even though it is the really poke-heavy Ezreal Sona. And then, like we said already, Ryze is happy to go up against another solo laner here. So it seems like they're just going to be very flexible. We actually do have some magic resist on balls anyway, so even if he does end up out of a spot that he's not used to, he'll be just fine.
And I'm actually excited to see some of the other differences that have been performed early on in this game. Oh, the Scout Ward goes down. Cloud9 with a 10 gold lead. They've killed Xpecial's Scout Ward. GG.
Uh-oh, that could be huge. 10 gold.
It went on the mid laner. He's going to snowball ahead.
Another thing to point out here is we have the Kennen starting with the Doran's Blade.
Yeah.
It's actually a pretty popular start nowadays because Kennen can make such good use of his auto attacks early. If you start with that Doran's Blade and you, as soon as you get your electrical charge, the harass is just ridiculous on him.
Yeah, he's even went hybrid pen marks right here in this matchup. So he has 8 armor pen and 5 magic pen. So that little extra auto attack poke is still going to move on through. And, you know, Jat made the call at the very beginning of Champion Select. First time Cloud9 played was, oh, it might be balls on Ryze and high on Kennen. And so now, like, those two champions have been played by both players in the same lineups.
Yeah,
they've both now swapped it.
Yeah, we talked about flexibility being key, and you can't overstate it enough. It looks like Red's going to get slowed out here, but Sneaky not going to pursue him deep into the forest, and they get out with just that ward down here. The swaps are fairly interesting. Balls, actually, with that Ryze, looks like he'll probably be going middle, since we have Lulu Draven going up top here. And it is going to be High trying to face the 2 versus 1.
Well, they have pulled balls over to go in for this Golem invade. They spot Dyrus, the Odd One, and Reginald. Can they do enough damage? The ward is down. A lot of poke coming through with the Draven. Dyrus low on health. Has to take the early Orianna shield from Reginald. And they're just trying to buy time, of course. Cloud9 does not have their own smite here. Are they just trying to buy time? Already the Odd One has lost interest. They've successfully invaded that.
Yeah, all they were looking for was extra damage from that Golem. Those 3-on-3, Cloud9 were happy to take advantage of that. And now it looks like the same thing going down here versus Meteos.
This is rough for him. He's taking a lot of punishment right there. Down below 100 health. High forced away by Wild Turtle. So on both sides, the jungle invades have been very, very successful. And now it's High trying to pull aggro on the blue buff again. Meteos will smite that one away and get out.
All right, so the blue buff was picked up by Meteos, but Odd One abandoned his blue buff and went over to his red buff. So they both started out with a buff creep, so they're still around the same experience, and it actually won't hurt them too badly. Elise actually suffers a little bit without getting the blue, so Odd One's probably going to grab that one up next as soon as he does have another smite.
So let's see what these guys can now do with this one. Balls versus Reginald. Ryze versus Orianna is not a matchup we're too afraid of seeing. We see that one very often. I don't know what the word was supposed to be there, but it's odd to see a top laner fighting against one.
Yeah, and it's interesting how Balls actually did opt to get those magic resist glyphs instead of going mana for the extra bully. And the lottery paid off. He's up against Orianna. The magic resist going to pay off here. It's interesting to see that he did not go with the hybrid pen runes though, so he's actually only got that magic resist. They're actually really popular on Ryze too because he's able to make use of his auto attack. So interesting choices on both sides here from the rune perspective.
Balls didn't even go for the Magic Pen Mastery.
Nope.
He's just got the 10 CDR flat, and then he's just rocking it from there. So I think it's 0921 or 0219 is, I'm guessing, his Mastery build there. But TSM already diving back behind the turret here in this right-hand side lane, and High's just got to say, well, I'm getting zoned out pretty hard right here.
Yeah, so at this point, since the wolves are already gone for him, he doesn't even have anything to fall back on right now. All he can do is just throw shurikens at the back of the Odd One and try and poke them down. Meanwhile, Meteos is farming his jungle, so they're taking jungle farm for lane pressure, and it doesn't really matter that much because even though the first turret did go down already, C9 here, Sneaky and Lemon did their work themselves, and they'll get the top turret to answer. A
great fast push right there. Only one turret shot lands on the champion, and Cloud9 starting out trading things equally. So, a very mirrored early game so far. Ball's happily putting some damage on Reginald, now pushing forward. A lot of pain. Reggie shields himself, but it's a little bit too late. And will Meteos look for something?
So far, the big difference has been the 10 gold from that ward.
Yeah!
But now the biggest move of the game coming out here, rushing this dragon. It's only a half-life, and Odd One's only level 3, so they can't do it with the contest from Meteos.
Big risk by them. They were hoping it wasn't warded, but it was. And as soon as Cloud9 walked down, they said, nope, just kidding. but worth a try. And Midas makes his way back down to spots Wild Turtle. Says, get out of my jungle.
So just a little delay on the blue pill there. Well, about a little bit. He goes back to farming his jungle now. That actually has paid off a little bit for Meteos. He's a bit up on experience on the odd one now. So that will help out a little, but it's not going to be crucial here. Sneaky and Lemon Nation, really, though, they're extending extremely far, and they don't yet have wards to protect themselves.
I'm really interested by what happens in that lane because they did put some damage on that secondary turret. Now, when you compare to what TSM did, they didn't do anything at the bottom lane. They said, okay, we'll just get rid of that, kill the turret, and then we'll look for a dragon attempt. So there's more.
Yeah, they gained a little bit more here.
Progress was made.
For C9. They've got, a tiny chip off of that top turret. And it was just really a chance here taken by TSM. Go for the dragon. Maybe it's worded, maybe it's not. Wasn't, so they just pull out. Don't lose too much. And it's really just a very, very even game still. The thing about pushing that top lane more for C9 is that they're going to definitely need wards. They did that without any deep wards in the jungle. I mean, it's a fine move to do. They could actually send them back to that top lane, but all you have to do is have Lemon get you some vision so you can pull out if they do walk over with some ganks.
So we have some interesting new matchups coming through here because TSM have put their duo lane now to the middle and they've sent Reginald bottom. And it's interesting because Lemon Nation is actually holding up this duo lane. So it's going to be like Lemon Balls duoing and then Sneaky 1v1ing Reginald. We have really interesting matchups here in this game.
Yeah, and flexibility, we said it was going to be the name of the game here. Everybody has to be comfortable in every lane because these kinds of changes are going to be happening constantly. Odd one coming down for a gank on this no ward by Sneaky. He's got to be very, very careful right now. Reggie's a huge wave, so generally you don't want to waste those huge waves going for a gank, but a face check might mean, here we go.
He's going to take some damage, he's going to slow down Odd One, then haste himself out of there. That ward, he's like, Sneaky, you don't have any ward coverage. Hold on, I got you, dog, and then walks into an Elise.
Yeah, so it was interesting that Odd One was in place for the gank, but since there was about 200 gold in minion wave at the turret already, Reggie just goes for the assured farm for that one, and they actually pink ward Dragon and try and force this one while Kennen is top.
They're going pretty hard. Hai cannot make his way down. There are a lot of damage coming out on this one, and look at that. TSM making a really good, bold move. Their second try at Dragon is successful. They've built themselves a 5,000 gold lead. Great move.
And I like how they didn't take any unnecessary harass by forcing that gank down bottom. Just taking the guaranteed gold of the minion wave and then bringing everybody down. Since there was no threat of more damage on that top turret, a really good trade by TSM right there brings them up into the lead.
A great move indeed. So let's see what these guys can do to turn this one around, because Cloud9's got to say, well, we lost Dragon. Good move by you guys. Let's turn something else around. In sort of recent memory, I mean, Cloud9's been winning most of their games by outlaning the opposition and just being ahead by being the team, and they got to kind of snowball ahead on that one. Curious to see what they do when they finally don't have a gold lead at 8 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, they were on the way to doing it again with a nice gold, laning phase gold lead, but that Dragon just paid off for TSM, and they're back in this one. It looks like Hai is going to be the one stuck up in this top lane now, which is good. Kennen's got that Electro Surge that he can get away with very easily, and he does have his ward over by blue buff, so one lightning rush and he'll be out of harm's way.
All right, so we'll see if Hai can stay safe up in this matchup. He is finally dueling Reginald for the first time. We have a quote-unquote normal lane matchup in a way, sort of.
And then Reggie leaves.
Yeah. Just kidding. No, I think that's like the mission of these guys right now, is to never have a head-to-head matchup in any reasonable way. Wild Turtle's going to be heading up against this Kennen, though, and he's going to try to hold this turret and get the farm from pretty much safety at this point.
Yeah, it's going to be dangerous still for him because Kennen, he's an apt tower diver right now, and if he does build up the charges on Wild Turtle, the mini stun could be a huge chunk. All that Hai has to do is be able to push Turtle out of the lane to gain the advantage. It's very hard to lock down an Ezreal, but pushing him out of the lane is not out of his reach.
Well, Wild Turtle so far is looking like that standard blue build right now with the double longsword. I mean, maybe that's a brutalizer, but I'm guessing that is going to be the spirit of the Elder Lizard. One thing I do want to point out on Hai, though, because Kennen seems to have so many builds, a lot of the Koreans I see will max W first. They actually max the Electrical Surge. He is actually maxing the Thundering Shuriken, the Q there, for some extra poke, and I'm excited to see what he does with that.
Yeah, it's all about the poke here. That's especially potent when you are pushing towers like that and you want to get free poke under turrets. Long range of that shuriken means that you can just back out of harm's way and get the free poke down. So little nice adaptation right there. As we progress through this game, though, without any first blood, we're going to start to be looking at larger fights, and most of those are really going to depend on, will Meteos be able to get off a good elastic slingshot out of vision of TSM, because it's going to be all about that Zac initiate for Cloud9.
And we almost had a 4v3 down at the bottom lane, actually. The mid laner and jungle, I say mid laner, it's balls, but whatever. They came down from the mid lane, walking through a TSM ward, and Reginald and Odd1 both showed up to defend Dyrus, but the turret was the turret. Cloud9 goes ahead. They're in structure kills. But Wild Turtle now has the push edge against High in the top lane.
Yeah, and that's going to be two people here. We have Lemon Nation also, or Xpecial, excuse me. So used to seeing Lemon on that support. Xpecial is coming up to support Wild Turtle in this push on top line. So we'll have to see if Meteos' presence is going to be enough to stop them.
All right, now it's going to be an interesting one. They're about to reach turret range right here. And here's the real moment of truth for does this push work. Meteos puts a ward down. Now both know someone's going to come in from the tri-brush. Put in a little bit of damage. Arcane Shift away, and look at that. Cloud9 with an easy wave clear saying, nope, we're not going to lose that turret.
Yeah, really expertly placed ward in that tri-bush. Not only does it see the tri-bush, but you get a little extra vision here on this corner for those sneaky elastic slingshots I said were going to be all important from Meteos. And something interesting about that elastic slingshot is, since Meteos maxes that first, not only do you gain maximum range, but the charge up time on the ability does not increase. So you're getting more max range, but you're also getting more distance gained per amount of time.
Yeah.
So you can actually catch people with that. So you jump a lot faster because you get to that max range at the same time.
Nice.
And it's a really good chase tool as well.
Well, that's going to be cool for him. We'll see if Meteos can keep that chasing going. Of course, so far they haven't quite found themselves any kills, but Cloud9 have built themselves a 300 gold lead, so the objective game being played by both these teams, and it's just a slight edge for the red guys so far. Sneaky has moved himself back to the mid lane. Looks like there's only one outer turret left, and they dedicate the resources to that.
First blue item here for Blue Ezreal. He's been burning people with that Elder Lizard, but like Jad said, it's a good build. It just takes a while to reach its full potential. You have a little bit of a lull in the period where you're buying mana for the tier that you're gonna upgrade, in which you don't get more power out of it because you're not buying AD.
Yeah, well, interesting note, by the way, as the ult from Ezreal comes across High accidentally burned his own ultimate not long ago, so
yeah.
A little effective thunderstorm there for him. Hopefully, actually the funny thing is, apparently in his first game, he also chugged his red elixir at level 1 on an accident as well, before lane even started. And he said he's actually had a new keyboard, and he's not used to it yet, so he's misclicking stuff sometimes.
Sure,
High.
the keyboard. It looks like we are going to have a brawl here around the blue buff. Meteos goes right in on it, and Balls gets caught.
He has to flash away. Left bounce comes across to get some damage on the Dyrus. They actually get him down to half. Blue buff did get picked up by Meteos, but it was at least denied from Rise. It's a good thing there for TSM.
Meteos bounces in to grab it. They still get it, but you're right. That would be optimal on Rise. Even though Balls has his tier stacking up, he constantly needs mana. Rise is so mana hungry in the early stages of the game. It's a huge benefit to have that.
Reginald forced to run away from High and Meteos. The rest of the team grouped up in the mid lane. Looks like we do have all 5 nearly to stand aside onto Reggie. Shield coming out from Elimination. And looks like the standoff is about to begin. Cloud9 not showing any signs of leaving this area.
14 minutes in, still no first blood. Everybody keep that in mind.
Shockwave comes across. Sneaky forced to run back into the brush. Dyrus has nothing to jump to. Wild Turtle comes across. Oh my god, the burst! He goes down and the ult is back from High. Gets crescendoed. He's going to fall over. 1 for 1 so far in the battle. Dyrus finding himself getting shot at. The jump's not going to come by from Meteos. Actually times it a little bit too early. Almost gets the kill onto the odd one. But the health bars are incredibly low from TSM. They're very low on Cloud9 as well. Just the 1 for 1 and they back out.
So people always say, the main difference between Ezreal players is isn't an Ezreal player who Arcane shifts towards the fight or an Ezreal player who Arcane shifts away from the fight. Right there, Wild Turtle goes straight into it, trying to get that first blood and burst down. Sneaky pays for that with his life, but then High does the exact same thing. Dives in on them and feeds back 1 kill. Now it's going to be C9 on the Dragon.
Well, he does not have that Zhonya. There's the initiation. A bunch of damage coming across. Red team picks up Dragon, but they're low on health, slow by distance. But Reginald just gets stand aside, has to flash away. That's just going to be a Dragon, and no one will fall. But Dyrus says, okay, you'll take Dragon, I'll take top lane.
That was a really good move by Cloud9. We always talk about how the kills are not that important unless you capitalize on it with an objective. Grabbing that Dragon, huge for them because Hai was able to get back since he had died. He was coming from base. Now he defends the top turret right there, and he's going to delay that extra gold bounty.
The mid lane, though, Repel comes across, Shockwave as well. That's so good for them. Ball's taking so much damage, and he falls over. Reginald makes this kill score 2-1, and they're about to equalize the turrets 2-2.
The General dropping bombs right there. Him and Reggie with the combo. Repel up into the rafters and just fall down with the Shockwave. Beautiful play right there. Able to catch out the Ryze. Still fairly squishy because he's early in that Ryze build. Hasn't been able to get up any of those resistances.
And they're going to get the knockup combo onto Reginald. Stand aside as well. Flash is not available. He will fall down. Odd1 shows up, but he's not able to participate much in this one. Sneaky was exhausted. That also did not matter. Great kill pickup. Cloud9 making it 2-2.
You're right. So many knockups and knocks-asides here for Cloud9.
Oh my gosh. The flanking Kennen Ninja. That was not obvious whatsoever. They come through on that one. Turret goes down 3-2 in more ways than one now for Cloud9.
So we have another flipping ninja coming out of the jungle and claiming some lives here. Looks like everybody has been training fairly hard with that little furball.
It's funny, too. They're not even always picking him because they wanted to play Kennen. You heard Chris say, yeah, I was going to deny that from the end. Oh, I actually did really well with him. I don't normally play Kennen much, but...
Seems like everybody's saying that. Yeah. Even in the All-Stars, the Koreans, it was just like, well, you know, I don't even play Kennen. I was just using that so that China would ban them against us. But now I'm going to play him because he's so fun and so strong.
Kennen is, and he came back out of nowhere. Like, nothing happened to Kennen. People just started playing him again.
Oh, you play him? I will play him too.
Same with Ryze. Like, it's just funny watching champions like, you know, I forgot this guy exists. My God, he's good.
Yeah, and that is actually going to get the momentum really swinging here for Cloud9 for the first time really in this game. It does feel like somebody's got this big upper hand, and we're going to look for the next move for them because all of the outer turrets have been taken down from TSM. So the map here for Cloud9 is fully open. It's going to be up to them to wisely choose their next objective.
So we'll see what that ends up being when they go for that kind of stuff. Right now, pressure is down onto Dyrus. The spinning axe is doing a lot of damage. Dyrus does not have flash available, but he does have friends, and those actually help you save your flash, make them run away.
That's TSM. You know, they've been together a long time. They're pretty good friends. They'll back up old Dyrone when he's taking axes in the back. And it looks like Cloud9 not actually forcing any objectives right now because, well, there's nothing on the map. They're just defaulting back to that sort of, you know, we saw Dignitas always do it in the early season where they just push all lanes. So they're just trying to collect farm right now until something presents itself for them to actually fight over.
Well, Hai is happily pushing the bottom lane down, but the initiation comes in from the Odd1 against Elimination. Shockwave does not land. Reggie has snapped back to him, and he could not pull Elimination. That would have been potentially a surefire kill, but it misfired.
The bombs were a dud on that mission. Odd1 did not actually pick up his payload before he lifted off, so Reggie was left holding the bomb on that one, and Shockwave hits nobody. Unsuccessful mission, but they were able to grab Elimination.
As Joe would say, that was a mad wave. Let's see where this fight goes. Looks like a turret's going to go down. Minion's going to go down. Cloud9 forced to run. TSM heavily invading into the jungle. Even without Orianna ultimate, they are pretty safe right here. Picked up by the Odd1. Burns his smite. TSM still looking good. Falls. Forced to flash away. Has the Odd1 coming in as well. As comes the slicing Maelstrom. The Let's Bounce, the Crescendo. Everything's coming across both teams right now. He was going to fall over for his High. Gets the kill onto his special. The team is running away. Uh-oh, Meteos. He's been split into Boblin's team.
He's on the ground.
Survive. Will it be enough? Oh, Meteos! Meteos now! Meteos gets his first death in the LCS.
Oh, TSM claimed the medal. They finally take out Meteos. First ones to do it. And that fight started off because they caught Elimination. They were able to burst him down as Shockwave follow-up. Reggie's not done yet.
Absolutely great play by Reginald. Max CDR Orianna gets Shockwaves pretty quickly. Great move. Now TSM moves to 4-4 in kills. Looking to equalize the turrets as well as they push down the mid lane. Making good work here.
Like I said, that one started off by the catch on Elimination. Good cocoon by Odd1 there, getting Lemon while he was clearing out some wards, and that zoning really split Cloud9 just terribly around that blue buff. So Balls got chunked early, had to burn his flash as well, and they were not able to recover from that. You also want to give props to Xpecial for a great crescendo right there to secure that team fight.
All right, the elimination finds Wild Turtle a little bit there, but just makes him run away. Otherwise, he's going to be fine. Sneaky, trying to farm up. Yeah, has to be afraid. It goes to catch an axe. Reggie's like, I know where that's going to be. And a side comes across. Those could be a risky move. Nope. Reggie also has friends. So TSM, with the teamwork, they're going to survive.
Yes, that giant glowing light on the ground. Good indicator of where to throw your skill shots.
Sneaky was less sneaky that time around.
Not so sneaky with Draven.
It's like bright glowing orange. I'm pretty sure most people.
Here we go. TSM looking to initiate. Odd1 goes in with the ball.
And he's going to go some damage onto Balls. And here we go. Can he run back? The shockwave lands onto 2. Odd1 takes a bunch of damage, but Balls takes even more. The Wild Growth comes across, and Wild Turtle says, that doesn't matter to me. I already am Wild. Takes that one away.
Great repositioning there by Reggie. He was not happy with Odd1's position. Moved up the ball with the command attack, just a smidgen to catch both Balls and Lemon and bring them back into the fight.
And TSM, you said it. If you can capitalize a kill with an actual objective, please do it. And they got that. So the Dragon goes down. They've traded that one back. And TSM now exactly equal in gold to Cloud9. 21 minutes in, and this game is incredibly close.
Yeah, some great plays here by TSM, bringing them right back to even here. Hai going to shove up this top lane a little bit, but he's not going to be able to venture very far forth because look at the map. It's so dark here for Purple side. They've only got that one ward at the river. They're really lacking in vision right now. And so Lemon is going to try and get that back.
Let's see if he can do it right now. He is wearing just a regular Sightstone and Boots of Mobility, so he's been investing more in wards and hasn't been able to really upgrade that fully. You compare that to Xpecial, he does have the Ruby Sightstone, so he's actually having a better time warding, and I think that contributes a little bit.
Yeah, and Odd1 also helping out for TSM, grabbing up a couple wards whenever he does go back. Very team-oriented jungler there. People always want to give him props for doing his part as well in the war on vision.
The war on vision. It's interesting because actually you do want to like deny vision. It's like, guys, don't do sight wards.
The war on fog of war.
Oh,
Lemon pushing that bottom lane by himself, grabbing up some extra gold, so he'll try and answer. The arms race in the war on vision is really huge here. He wants to be able to upgrade his Sightstone.
The fog is departing. All right, Balls, though, he's going to be up against his turret in the top lane, farming stuff out. He's pretty happy with this one. And this seems to be sort of the Cloud9 sort of default setup. He's good to this point where you're like, we don't really know what to do, so we're going to rock our lanes and hope we win 1v1s. And this time around, TSM's getting a little bit better out of this one.
There we go, Xpecial heard, and he's one-upping Elimination. Now grabs the Oracles, but Reggie gets cut out.
Oh my gosh, the damage. Shotgun comes across, but that will not be enough to save him. Now Cloud9 says, all right, we got the kill. Your team caller, your major initiator is gone. What are they going to do to capitalize off this?
Oh, the elastic slingshots. I said that was going to be huge. And Meteos with the maximum elastic slingshot. The charge up time doesn't change at all, so he's able to get in there and surprise Reggie. Now they're going past the turret.
And they get the knock up there. Odd1 forced to run back. A lot of damage coming in. Hai is going to go in, all in. The crescendo comes across. He gets shut down. A little too aggressive there. Meteos forced to flash out of the base. They will get a turret for this, but they've still lost the kill. Now what's going to happen in this 4 versus 4? Slow comes down on a Wild Turtle. Darius and the Odd1 and co still chasing. Looks like Cloud9 has made their way out, though.
High in a little bit too deep there. Does pay for it with his life, but they got the turret anyway, so it wasn't a huge misstep for them. And since they had just killed Reggie, not much that TSM can force. They can't just go rush this Baron right now. It's too dangerous for them. 24 minutes almost into the game, Baron still does a large percent of your health and damage.
All right, that's going to be difficult then. So, the next major objective coming up before too terribly long is Dragon eventually will respawn. That might be our next focus of contention. TSM, they did try to sweep out Baron, but look at that. Elimination had aggroed it with a Glitter Lance, and TSM takes a bit of damage for their trouble. So Xpecial's going to walk right back in there and say, okay, there really aren't any wards here. I'll ward over the wall.
That is like support 101. You need to get a handle on aggroing Baron when your enemy is actually going into the clear out wards, because supports take so much damage from Baron. As you can see right now, they're going to burst it down after they cleared it out, and it's going to be up to Meteos to go for a steal here.
This is Gonna be rough. He does have Slingshot, but does not have Flash, so it's gonna be a one-way trip for Meteos. Will he get death number 2? TSM stops hitting Baron, and Meteos has to stop. That was a beautiful move by them. There's no way across the wall this time around. This could be TSM's Baron. They're getting it lower and lower. Blue team picks it up. Meteos goes for the left bounce. Can they get the fight in time? Stand aside hits Reginald. Shockwave hits Sneaky. Sneaky flashes backwards. There's the push onto Reggie. A lot of damage there. Balls in the mix as well. They find one. High as Zonya's. Oddwood taking a bunch of punishment. Zonya goes back up in the air. He's going to fall back down. Dyrus falls as well. 3 for 1 so far in this fight. Wild Turtle and Special forced to run back. Baron for a 3 for 1. That's a close trade.
Oh, so they did get Baron, so that was huge for them. But good job by Cloud9, able to follow that one up. TSM, they paused the Baron, waited for the elasticity of the elastic slingshot to run out, and so Meteos had to walk around. They already had the Baron, but AoE damage here. Again, the slicing maelstrom from cannons have just been deciding games today. And it looks like Cloud9 going to answer with an inhibitor turret.
And they've got 7 seconds left still to make some moves. The inhibitor could be theirs as well. They've got to be a little bit aware of a potential home guard re-engage. Special and Wild Turtle putting the damage. Meteos forced to run back low on health. Crescendo comes across high and Sneaky. Oh, they dodge away and don't quite get the Ezreal ult across them. There's a stand aside as well. They're still trying to run backwards, but TSM might still be looking for it.
As barely gets out with that lightning rush. High is going to be okay though, and everybody recalls. Now they're going to try and purchase, because they did just claim about the same amount of global gold there. The buff still on important carries like Wild Turtle though. So
and Special.
And Special, very important carry Special there.
He's the Edward school, man. He's got 2 kills.
It's actually, it gives him a lot of regen, so that's huge for Sona here, and they're going to answer with a mid turret of their own.
All right, that is a great pickup for them. So they traded what, 1 turret apiece after the Baron, but Cloud9 did get an inhibitor. So that's going to start putting a lot of pressure on that mid lane of the map. It's going to really just determine. So here's the weird thing, right? Because you've got 2 like differing factors. So one team has a Baron buff still, and one team has super minions. Like, what does that do to the map that I can't even comprehend who's going to start pushing harder?
So it actually has a really interesting effect, because Cloud9 can't really successfully dive a turret 5 versus 5 right now, but their lanes are going to be passively pushing. So TSM are going to have people defending, farming, getting free farm on these lanes near their defensive turrets, and it's going to be up to Cloud9 to get their gold elsewhere, as you see the Dragon being taken right now.
And a lot of punishment onto that one. Easy pickup here, and again, you mentioned those lanes pushing, and Cloud9, yep, they're happily taking the objectives that they can. So they've now regained the gold lead, 39.3 to 38.8. This game incredibly close, and Cloud9's about to lose their record, by the way. We're hitting about 27.5 minutes in. TSM definitely a very strong opponent for these guys.
Dyrus and Odd One, though, very late to recall. They were both up in that top lane, and that means a free turret for Cloud9.
Wow, absolutely impressive. So they push that lead forward now above 1,000 gold, but I don't think 1,000 gold means a heck of a lot at this point in the game. TSM grouping up, defending successfully.
And we just had the blue Ezreal turn into his final form. We've got the Muramana upgrade, and we have the Iceborne Gauntlet finished. He is at his power spike right now. He's got all the essential pieces. Next thing he needs is just a little bit of lifesteal, and he will be a kiting machine for TSM. So, gold still very close game, even though the TSM base is open, very much up in the air right now.
I feel like we could name Ezreal after Pokemon. Like, he starts as Squirtle and ends at Blastoise when he finally gets the Iceborne Gauntlet. I feel like Pokemon Ezreal's like a good choice right here.
All right.
So Blastoise is now here for TSM. They tamed that wild one, and it's now in his Pokeball here. TSM going to grab up the Golem buff. Reginald's going to like that one a heck of a lot. But these guys, you're right, they're not doing much with that Baron buff. Those lanes that keep pushing, they're really holding them back.
All right, you go with the Pokemon. I'll go with the Mega Man.
Oh.
I feel like he's got that Mega Man Ice Blaster upgrade right now. And Ezreal, he's going to that's going to be a huge boon to TSM, because the engage from Cloud9 is really important part. If they're able to get everyone inside of the Slicing Maelstrom, then it's going to be team fight turn out beautiful for them, because bounce around and the mini stuns are going to cause so much chaos. But if TSM are able to kite it out, if you can kite out a Slicing Maelstrom, they can easily turn that right back around. And Blue Ezreal is the perfect kite machine.
That's going to be a fun one to watch, then how well TSM can coordinate their team fights, because they're stuck here under the turret. Wild Turtle levels up by ulting a minion wave at the bottom. Nice job there. He's fastly level 16 now. Still got that shiny blue stuff on his hand, saying, yes, I will turn you to Frost. And we see that Cloud9, though, as the Baron buff has finally timed out, are saying, great, It's now our time to play the siege game. Turret down below half health. Of course, the waves are still pushing into the middle and bottom.
Another, sort of side bonus of the blue build for Ezreal is that he gets so much cooldown reduction. He's got max cooldown reduction almost, 39%, and something is close enough to 40 for me. He can fire off his ultimates to clear waves even though they are passively pushing because of the downed inhibitor.
Yeah, it's back up.
He can just keep on firing that off. We saw him use to clear the last wave. Boom, he can get this middle wave with his ult as well.
Oh, Midos is looking for it. Yeah, he was considering it, certainly. He charged up. There are no wards there. Another Ez ult comes by. Gets a nice fashionable amount of gold right there, getting closer and closer to max level. And that's actually so convenient, though. It's keeping bottom lane from killing their turret. They're able to play this siege that you normally don't get to do when your inhibitor falls down.
Yeah, I mean, they're taking a little bit of damage because it's the super minions in the middle and the bottom wave that's pushing, but it's definitely not as bad as it should be for TSM here, and they're stalling out right now, and the bottom turret actually won't go down. It is going to take a decent amount of damage, though.
Yeah, but it looks like all the recalls are coming through. The middle inhibitor has respawned, so TSM says, all right, your push is done. No, just kidding. High and balls saw them go back and get a couple hundred damage in that turret, then realize, okay, Reginald, I'm just kidding. I didn't mean it. It's cool. We're homies. I'm going to back out. Just let me go.
Yeah, if you don't actually have a minion wave there, towers do get, that extra resistances that makes them harder to take down. So they're definitely going to have to back off. Can't finish that one off. And what Cloud9 really needs is that Meteos, Elastic Slingshot from Fog of War, trying to catch someone on TSM out. If he's able to get a good one of those, then he can easily use Let's Bounce to group everyone up for High's Slicing Maelstrom. And that's really what they're going to be looking for in the next team fight.
It's going to be a fun thing to watch for Meteos. Let's see if you can bounce everyone back into the air and avenge yourself for that death you got earlier. I can't believe you did it.
Kind of let me down, actually. He
is
true. He is just a man like the rest of us. He is not a god.
He is a blob, though. So hopefully that'll change. I don't know where that was supposed to go. But right now, Cloud9 still hold on to their minor gold lead with the inhibitor back down. Baron coming up in about a minute. It's going to be another race for big objectives. We've seen these fights go back and forth, and the objectives getting just slugged down on either side whenever a fight goes down. I want to see how this goes.
Look at the tools available for each team, though. That's 10 summoners and, not 5 ultimates anymore because we just had Ezreal use his ultimate. But basically, everything is on the table right now. The next fight is going to be explosive. Everybody is going to have no excuses. You've got everything that you could possibly want ready. And here goes Meteos!
When the knockup is there, can they do the damage they need? Reggie and Wild Turtle taking a bunch of pain. They're going to try to collapse down on towards Dyrus right now. Meteos taking a bunch of pain. Odd one goes in. The Slicing Maelstrom comes across. Yeah, they get the free kill onto Elise. Dyrus taking more damage. Shotgun gets Sneaky. Sneaky flashes back, has barrier as well. Dyrus now taking more damage. Crescendo comes across almost everybody. Now can they get out? Reginald slowed by Meteos. Here comes Balls as well. The burst comes across to pick up Orianna, and the chase is on. Cloud9 looking for Wild Turtle, but the Iceborne Gauntlet slows them down 2-0. Ezreal comes across, doesn't quite land. The health bar is so low on Cloud9, except for Balls.
The key sign of a very well-played team fight is when everyone on your team comes out blinking red. Look at Cloud9, they're all low. Actually, Lemon not blinking anymore, he's gray.
I is going to say hello to Wild Turtle, but that was a little... Oh, it wasn't! He gets the kill, but that means only Sona is alive, and the rest of Cloud9 can take down Baron.
That was actually worth it for High to go down in that exchange because he took out Ezreal with him, and that gave the rest of his team time to get Baron, unmolested, and especially he was able to pick up the kill, but it doesn't do that much for him. He's already got most of the health items that he needs. It really is just going to mean probably the first aura for that support.
Ooh, Oddman's looking to try to smite steal this across the wall. No, I don't think smite actually reaches from there, but he could have repelled and just gone for it maybe. I don't know. He didn't go for it. Either way, Baron, yes, and Dragon picked up here for the Cloud9 lineup. And they're looking a little bit better here. Up about now 3,000 gold as we crest 34 minutes in.
This is so close. I mean, we saw CLG in the last game winning team fights being down 10k gold. Yeah. And this one is so ridiculously close. Really, the big win for Cloud9 was actually getting the Baron buffs. That's going to do a lot more for them than the extra gold here. And it's going to be, again, another instance of TSM being on the back foot. This time, the huge thing is going to be the exposed inhibitor mid, though, because Cloud9 can force a team fight without having to work around a turret. They can just come straight middle, and force you to fight out in the open.
And so let's see now how they can push this down, because you got to think that's going to be their target here with the Baron buff and ultimates up on everybody on that roster. It should be looking pretty okay for them. Granted, TSM has their own, but Cloud9 should have the edge. They push down in the mid lane. All 5 are here. They even got the blue elixir there on Balls' Rise. This could be the push they are looking for. Obi-Wan Kenobi's not going to dissuade them here. Let's see if they can get this one going.
I have to say the last team fight was really just how they wanted to play it. It was a good initiate from Meteos with the slingshot, and then Hai held on to his ultimate until they were in a great position for it, and he used to split up TSM once again. So it's very interesting. You have to watch each step of this because neither team are grouping up for the AoE of the other.
Oh, they got a lot back on a Balls elimination, though. The Slicing Maelstrom comes across. Look at the knockups everywhere. Dyrus dropped low, trying to get out. Dyrus does fall down. High popped his Zonias. A 1-for-0 so far. Ezreal whiffs everybody. They get the inhibitor. Now the next move for Cloud9. 5-on-4. They've got to be aware of the healing, though. They're going in for the turret right now in the Nexus. This could be rough. Stun lands onto High. Is it going to be enough damage? Poke comes in from Ezreal. Still trying to chase down High. Still forced to run back. He's on fire. Is he going to die? Wild Turtle gets the kill. 1-for-1, and Cloud9 are running. No, here comes the odd one. Can he find more? Rune Prison. Oh my gosh, the burst. He gets a shield, though. It's not going to be enough. Another kill picked up here for Cloud9. And they're going to back out this time. Maybe for real, but we don't know.
Yeah, they're probably going to want to. They just had odd one go. Try and catch somebody. Just kidding. Get bursted down. The no resistances in spider form for Elise actually just showing pretty big right there. He got burned down extremely quickly.
And actually, he went for his first item was Spectral Wraith, actually. It's interesting to see her go AP and Spellvent more so than max health. And I don't know if that was a really big factor there, but it's interesting to look at.
I mean, you know, all the jungle items that do build out of that machete are so cost effective. It's really just your play style, and Oddwin's been constantly spamming that item first in solo queue. Because there's a lot more, you know, brawling in solo queue, and having that Spellvent is huge. So I guess that, you know, carried over. It is interesting to see no Rylai's or something like that, but after this, he usually goes Locket. You know, you get some more defensive stats, extra shields, so it kind of makes up for it there.
Yeah, that is his build path. The elimination force back pops his Shirelias as well as part of that one. And it's interesting that you kind of say that's what he's been doing in solo queue, because that to me feels like the Cloud9 playstyle in a way. They make the game like a controlled solo queue, where they all play so well individually. They play kind of sort of long laning phases, and you know, feel free to disagree if you want, but
no, I mean that's perfectly valid. If you're a team that's made up of guys all 5 in the top 10 of your solo queue ladder, then yeah, you'll be happy to go with the solo queue game because we're all on the top of the ladder. That just plays right into our strategy. So yeah, it's exactly how they would want it to unfold here.
All right, so Origami seems to be the hobby of Cloud9. Pushing on through. Wild Turtle, now level 18, holding on to this bottom lane, but middle inhibitor dead. The Baron buff has, at the very least, timed out, so that's one thing back into TSM's favor, but we saw last time this middle inhibitor had been dropped down. TSM had to hold on to a turret for a very, very, very long time and try to have Wild Turtle wave clear other lanes. We'll see if they can do this again. Game is still very close. Cloud9 looks for the bottom lane this time.
It should be a pretty easy engage here if they do want it. Again, to keep in mind the positioning at this point in the game is so crucial. You have to watch your threats being next to each other. You don't want Sneaky and Balls to stand right next to each other. Because if you can get that into a shockwave crescendo, like TSM have been looking for, then that's actually a lot of your DPS down, and you'll have to fully rely on High to distract everyone. Get in there, use the Slicing Maelstrom plus Zanya's combo.
Right now, High is playing the poke game, though, with that maxed out Q. Looking for some kind of opening there. Even what Leandries for get even some more like long-lasting poke damage when he hits people down. Meteos right now playing the role of initiator, hiding off behind the wall in Fog of War and saying, maybe I can land another knockup. He's gotten them. Basically, he's been the initiator for every one of these fights so far. His judgment's been great for those. Yeah,
that's exactly what they have to have with their team comp, because the only other option would be High flashing in there. Flipping Ninja with the Flash Zanyas.
No, right now, though, it's Meteos just playing the mobile split pusher here. Jumps into that top lane, gets them another turret picked up here. So 7-4 in turret kills. Cloud9 are working the map to their favor. building a about 4,000 gold lead for this.
Yeah, Zach, like I said before, the Elastic Slingshot, not only is it a great ganking tool, it's great for getting around the map even.
Yeah.
8-second cooldown at this point in the game for him because he's gotten that cooldown reduction. High, again, is that the second ultimate
that we've seen?
That highest burn that we've actually caught. Yeah. So we don't know how many there are, but he is definitely very trigger happy.
I feel like he was like typing "I'm recalling" and didn't hit enter or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, High, you got to sort that problem out. That's like at some point that's going to be like really bad.
I mean, to say the least, it's a little embarrassing.
I know why they banned Karthus.
Oh, everybody would see that one. There's no way you're gonna get out of free if you throw that Karthus ultimate. What's this large laser beam on my head?
All right, well, Cloud9 have picked up the Dragon, though. They've actually kept good control of those neutral objectives. They've gotten the only Barons. That's actually completely incorrect, but Dragons have been in their favor. Meteos, we have thrown again in mid. Baron is actually back up, so the battle is going to continue for the neutral objectives. These guys, as much as they like make openings into the enemy base, the defense from both sides has been so good that neither team has ever like even really come that close to closing out the game.
40 minutes already, and this game has just been tense the whole time.
Yeah,
it's definitely very, very close here. I mean, we still have so that was the last super minion that they just killed off, but the inhibitor is exposed. And it is going to be easy for Cloud9 to
looking for it.
Force the one that they want. Baron buff is up as well, though.
Here comes the re-engage from the side, though, from High. Gonna get as many stuns and knockdowns as he can. Look at the damage up on in the back line. Walter with a ton of shield. Shotgun comes across so many. Sneaky is unstoppable, picking up a kill. Darius in the front. He has to force back as well. Ball's still getting jumped on. Wild Turtle takes so much damage. Oh, that is a 4-for-0 so far. Cloud9 wiped the floor with TSM in that fight.
There we go. You get the flanking engage here for Cloud9. That was what they wanted to use. Balls was able to distract. It was basically leading them into a quarter like some 300 move, and then everyone jumping over for the Avalanche. It looks like the surrender is even going to come out after that ridiculously intense game.
Cloud9